Feels good to be back. Good day, everybody. I'm Shmi, and I make guides for Path of Exile's Ruthless mode. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that like button, and feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more. Today, I'm back to show you all how to start a Rage Storm Scion or Marauder. While most melee classes with low damage and high frequency hits will struggle against armored targets, the Rage Storm bypasses that problem by getting 52% physical damage overwhelm. And that's just from your passive tree. With Poacher's Mark and Intimidating Shout, you can push that beyond 100%. You'll use Cyclone primarily to generate rage, as well as Rage Vortex. When used at full rage, Rage Vortex will shred even the toughest monsters like a gigantic saw blade. And thanks to Intimidating Shout, our Rage Vortices will have their double damage for the entire duration. For your equipment, the build uses iron reflexes to convert evasion into armor. This means that you can use plate, mail, or leather, but the build gets just barely enough dexterity for Cyclone, so using high-level leather can be difficult. Plate is okay, but underwhelming due to having the lowest base stats. Leather is great, but difficult to use. However, mail armor provides the best of both, giving you a higher base armor stat and a lower dexterity requirement. This build can be done as a Berserker Marauder or as a Scion. Each of the two gains access to the good version of Rage that generates rage faster. However, the build is extremely vulnerable to physical reflect, and it's reliant on leech. As a Scion, you can also gain immunity to physical reflect and keep leeching at full life by taking the Duelist's Slayer Ascendancy. But a Marauder levels far more smoothly. Marauders can gain the rage mechanic after their first labyrinth, whereas it takes Scions until their second lab at level 55 to unlock rage. In the long run, Scion is the better endgame option, but if you choose her, be ready to ride the struggle bus from Acts 4 to 7. Acquiring the skill gems as a Marauder is extremely easy and requires zero pre-farm. You start with Heavy Strike. After you kill Hillock, you can either take Ground Slam or Molten Strike. Either way, you're just using that until you get Cyclone. And then after you finish breaking some eggs, you're going to take Ancestral Protector. After you kill Brutus, you're going to take Intimidating Cry. You're going to take Warlord's Mark at the start of Act 2, just to use until you get Poacher's Mark. You're going to take Cyclone after killing General Gravicius, and then trade your first uncarved gemstone for Rage Vortex. When you get your second gemstone, use it to get Poacher's Mark. On a Marauder, you're going to get offered Berserk at the beginning of Act 4, but it's a trap. The build is designed to stay at or near full rage. You can try Berserk if you'd like, but it's going to make Rage Vortex very weak. Acquiring the skill gems as a Scion is also quite easy, but if you're going to play as a Scion, you need to start with a farm Marauder and take him as far as finishing the Breaking Some Eggs quest in the Mudflats. This will give you Heavy Strike, your choice of either Ground Slam or Molten Strike, and Ancestral Protector. Then, on your Scion, you're going to take Vitality after killing Brutus, and then take Cyclone after killing General Gravicius. Use your first uncarved gemstone to get Intimidating Shout, your second to get Rage Vortex, and your third to get Poacher's Mark. To level your passive tree as a Marauder, start by taking the Life and Armor path, developing most of the starting Marauder cluster. You're going to take this path up through Heart of the Warrior, up to Born to Fight, and then over to take Butchery and Warrior training. Then inward to take Versatility, Diamond Skin, and Spiked Bulwark. Then we're going to head down to take Unwavering Stance and Martial Experience. From here, when you take a look at the whole build, you can see that the build is split into 3 sections. You have this upper Scion section, which has a whole lot of life. You have the right-hand Duelist leg with a lot of utility and damage. And then you have this left side for the Marauder that has a whole lot of more armor. Develop the Duelist leg first, taking each cluster in the build as you get to it. Then do the Scion section second, and the Marauder section last. To level your passive tree as a Scion, the process is the exact same, with the Scion section and the Marauder starting area flipped. Start by taking the Resistance's path downward, then go left to take Constitution and Path of the Warrior. Keep going until you get to Unwavering Stance, and also take that Leech cluster. Then develop the Duelist section, the Marauder starting area, and last, develop the Marauder lower left leg. Whether you're on a Scion or a Marauder, developing into the endgame is all about pushing your damage. First, you'll want to take Razor's Edge and Blade Master. The reason you put these off until now is because you're playing Ruthless, and it's not a good idea to lock yourself into a single weapon type until you get to the endgame. Then you're going to develop these two crit clusters between the Marauder and Duelist area. When you take Dismembering, also take the Mastery that reduces the critical damage you take. And after you take Blade of Cunning, also take this Mastery, which gives a really big boost to critical strike chance at the small cost of a little bit of crit multiplier. After these, you're going to have one basic jewel socket, a cluster jewel socket, and several other solid clusters that are already unlocked that you can use at your discretion. If you're playing as a Marauder, for your Ascendancies, you're going to want to take Crave the Slaughter first, which gives you the Rage mechanic. Take Warbringer second. The explosions are nice, but getting the additional exerted Rage Vortex is the real prize here. Take Flawless Savagery third, and if you can get your Eternal Labyrinth done, take Blitz. If you're playing as a Scion, use your first 2 Ascendancy points to take the stats from both the Marauder and the Duelist paths. After your Cruel Labyrinth, take the Marauder Ascendancy Berserker, and then take the Duelist's Slayer Ascendancy after you finish your Merciless Labyrinth. If and when you can finish your Eternal Labyrinth, take Path of the Marauder to get 3 additional passive points and to enable an optional trick. If you use the points given to connect your build to the Marauder start, you can then refund these 2 pathing points to disconnect your initial Scion path with your new Marauder path. This will trade 20 strength for 9% increased maximum life and some armor. It also costs 1 additional passive point, and it cuts off your access to this basic jewel socket. So you can do this, but it is purely optional and it is not required. Whether you choose a Marauder or a Scion, this Rage Storm will shred through enemies as though you were sawing through the Atlas. You'll spin and slice your way through packs of monsters and grind down those packs in no time at all. You can unleash your fury on Rayclast. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care, Exiles.